What's up guys? In today's video we're going to continue working on that Gatsby tutorial, and today we're actually going to work on some nested components, and we're going to set up some layouts for our pages to use. So let's go ahead and jump on into this. Alright guys, so I've got Gatsby.js open to the tutorial we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and set this thing up and get it going. Alright, so if we scroll down here, you'll see we need to create a new Gatsby site. So I'm just going to copy this, and this is going to be pretty much the same command that we've been running. So we've got Gatsby new tutorial part 3, and then the repo that it's going to be using. So let's open up the terminal, cd to desktop, and then I'll paste that in and run that command. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're simply going to cd into that. So let's wait for this thing to finish creating this project. Alright, now that it's done creating the project, let's go ahead and cd into the tutorial project. And now we are in the project. So let's see what else we need to do. Install and configure Gatsby plugin typography. So we're just going to install this plugin, and to do that we'll run this command. It's npm install save Gatsby plugin typography, React typography, and typography theme fairy gates. Alright, let's go ahead and run that command now. Great, that's done running. Okay, let's see what's next. Create a new file in the root of your project called gatsbyconfig.js and copy the following content. Alright, so let's copy this, but we need to open this up in Atom, so I'm just going to type Atom, period, and then here we go, it's loaded. Let's create that file, so it's Gatsby config.js, and we'll paste that on in. Alright, so the Gatsby config.js is another special file that Gatsby will automatically recognize, and this is where you add plugins and other site configuration. So you can read more about that there, and again I will leave the link to this in the description. So it says typography.js needs a configuration file. Create a new directory called utils in the source directory, and then add a new file called typography.js to the utils and copy the following into the file. Alright, so I'll copy this for now. Let's go ahead and create that folder and then that file. So within source, we're going to create a folder called utils. And then within here, we're going to create a file called typography.js, and we'll paste that on in and save it. So you can read through this if you want, but you can go actually look at this plugin and figure these things out as well. But we're not going to go into that depth right now. So now we can go ahead and start the development server. Gatsby develop, and let's see if we get any issues. Doesn't look like we got any issues. Let's go ahead and run this, or open this I should say. Localhost, hello world. So that's what we got. Alright, so once you load the site, if you inspect the generated HTML using the Chrome developer tools, you'll see the typography plugin added a style element to the head element with its generated CSS. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Style, there we go. Alright, so head and style, and this is the typography.js. So this is all of the styles that come with that. Okay, let's continue. Alright, so let's make some content and style changes. Copy the following into your project: source, pages, index, so you can see the affected CSS generated by typography.js better. So we're going to copy all this, and we need to go to source, pages, index, and I'm just going to replace everything there. Okay. Now the site should look like this. Let's jump over here and see, and yes, it does. Perfect. Okay. Let's make a quick improvement. Many sites have a single column of centered text in the middle of a page or of the page. To create this, add the following styles to the div in source pages index. Okay, so we're just going to add this style here. So if we go right here on this div, paste that in, save it, and go back to the page, you'll see now it's perfectly centered in the center of the page. Let's see what else we got to do. All right, so by doing all that, we've successfully installed a Gatsby plugin and used it. It's pretty neat. There are a lot of different plugins you can see up here. You can go and, I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I think, in fact, let's type in the typography one. Here you go. So you can see this gives you what you needed to install this. It tells you how to use it. And there's some options here that you can do. So you can configure paths and omit a Google font. So go ahead and take a look at all those. They're pretty interesting. I've looked at a few of them, and I think we're gonna actually use a bit more of these a little later in this tutorial series. All right, let's go ahead and jump back to the tutorial. All right, so creating layout components. So it says now let's move on to learning about layout components. To get ready for this part, add a couple new pages to your project, an about page and a contact page. Okay, so this is the text for the about page. Whoops, I'll copy that. So I'm not going to keep going over all of this. Again, I mean, everything is HTML here. It's pretty straightforward. And then this, I mean, it pretty much repeats itself. You import everything at the top, and then you export the default here, or export whatever you want, and that's going to be that HTML. Okay, all right, so let's go to Atom and create an about page, .js, paste that in, and then now we need a contact page, so I'll copy this, and I'll, create contact.js, and paste that in. All right, now let's see what the new page looks like. So let's go to about, /about. That's what that looks like. Perfect, it matches this. So it says, it would be nice if the content of the two new pages were centered like the index page, and it would be nice to have some sort of global navigation so it's easy for visitors to find and visit each of the subpages. So it's basically telling us we can tackle these changes by creating your first layout component. So let's go ahead and get that done. So create a new directory at source. So we're going to create components, and within there, we're going to create a layout.js. Okay, so source components layout.js. Great. So we need to copy this code into there. So import React from React, export the children, and then we're setting a div with the styling, which is basically what we just did on the index page where we set a max width and center it. And then we're putting all of the children that use this layout within there. Okay, so let's copy this, paste that. And all right, so import this layout component into your source pages index.js page component. Okay, so we're going to import this, and then we're going to change this div. It was a div. We're going to change that to layout. So let's do that. Import. So where's our index? Right here. Go ahead and import that in, and then this will now be layout. Great. Okay, so it says sweet, the layout is working. The content of your index page is still centered, but try navigating to about or contact the page, the content on those pages still won't be centered. So let's go ahead and see. Yes, this is still not centered. And let's see if this has remained centered. It has. Perfect. Okay, so all we need to do now is import the layout component in about.js and contact.js as we did in the index.js. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to Atom, About, and again, we're just going to change this to layout because that's that component that we created. And let's go ahead and see, we got an error here, source about modules. Okay, so we didn't import that yet, so let's make sure we import that. Can't forget that. All right, and now this is working again. Let's go to About. Perfect. And let's go to Contact. Perfect. Okay, what's next? Add a site title. Add the following line to your new layout component. So we're going to say h3 my sweet site. And where's the component layout? So we're going to put that right above the children. And let's see what we got over here. So there is my sweet site. And it should now show up on the index page as well. There we go. Perfect. If you go to any of your 3 pages, you will see the same title added, which we just looked at. All right, so let's go ahead and add some navigation links between pages. It says copy the following into your layout component file. So we're going to import link from Gatsby, and we're going to set this up. All right. Let's go to the layout here. Okay, and then we're going to change this a little bit. So this is the layout component we had. We'll copy this whole header section. And this header section is basically replacing the H3 that we added here. Because as you can see, the H3 is within there. So go ahead and indent that a little bit. There we go. Okay, that feels much better. Indented properly. Okay. So if we go to the page, it should now look like this. This will be a URL, and we should have those 3 page navigation links. And there we go. You click this. Well, let's click About. We go to About. We go to Contact. We go Home. Let's go back to Contact. And then if you click on the logo, it takes you back to the home page as well. Perfect. All right, so we've successfully set up nested layout components, which I think is really neat. This reminds me a lot of Jekyll. It's just done in quite a different way. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content that I'm creating on my channel here, head on over to my Patreon account at patreon.com/ZacharyRNewton, where you can help support this channel and help me create better videos every week. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.